Hello, everybody. It is Ebontis here, face and all. We got a TWAB, and I've got two videos that I wanted to do, and I want to do my thoughts on the Solstice event, because I actually got all my armor to the Magnificent level, went through all three characters, kind of wanted to wait, though, on a couple of things, which I got some clarification on in this, and just kind of give it kind of a grade, because basically the only things left are, like, do your Trials matches, your Nightfalls, and that stuff is not, like, during the event. You can do that whenever, so that'll be covered later. But we got a whole bunch of information with regards to this stuff. Well, over there. Sorry, pointing the wrong direction. The Destiny Content Vault. We got a lot of stuff, so I'm going to go through, break it down with you guys, and try and give you an update and a feel of basically what is going to be going on come the fall. So, alright, so when we get started, the first thing they talk about is back in June, they talked about the Destiny Content Vault. Quick refresher, they're saying on November 10th, when Beyond Light comes out, you've got Io, Titan, Mars, Mercury, and the Leviathan, which are all going into the Content Vault, which is going to make room for the Cosmodrome's return, which is going to kind of build out over the course of year 4, and also Europa's debut, which is where most of the content's going to be taking place, and all the new story stuff, all of that, the new raid, all that stuff's going to be on Europa. Cosmodrome's kind of a different edition. They said there's been a lot of questions, and I've had a crap ton of them. We have some more answers, still some questions, but they've actually covered a lot of the content, per se, that's going to be going in. They haven't specifically covered, like, how you're going to be getting other things, or how certain, exotics are going to be handled in the future, but they do answer quite a bit of questions as we go through this one. We're just going to break it down, talk about each one of them, see what we got. Now, they do state there's a rule of thumb. When a destination goes into the Content Vault, so do its PvE, activities, and associated rewards. They said there's some edge cases where certain things will stay around. Trials of Osiris, the Lighthouse, for example, is staying around even though Mercury is going in the Content Vault. The Patrol Zone of Mercury is going away. The strikes related to Mercury, all that stuff's leaving. So, Lighthouse stays. The rest of everything related to Mercury, strikes, Patrol Zone, Lost Sectors, all that stuff, adventures, gone. So, just a clarification, that's their general rule of thumb. Most of the stuff going to the vault, you can picture anything related to that destination going with it, but let's go through the list. Now, some of these lists I'm going to zoom out a little bit more than others. First one we've got is strikes. So they said basically it's covered by the standard rule. So what are the destinations leaving? Io, Titan, Mars, Mercury. What are the strikes leaving? Everything on those planets. Pretty straightforward. Now, what is coming in the fall in Beyond Light, you've got the Cosmodrome, which will bring Will of Crota. And the Cosmodrome, I think they clarified that, like, Will of Crota might come in, like, season 13. Devil's Lair, Fallen Saber, you can see the little asterisks down here on the bottom, will coming out in year 4. So those might be season 14 or 15, who knows. And we get Europa. They're not going to tell us what's coming there because obviously that could be story hints. Now, as we go through some of these details, these are some of the things I want you guys to think about. Shout out to Kevin on Twitter who pointed this out to me. It seems like, it's wondering, are we going to get a certain number of strikes with the expansion in the fall? Are we going to get, again, what are we going to see in the fall? Now, we are going to get Will of Crota. That's a Destiny 1 strike that seems to be coming with Beyond Light on November 10th. We also get what looks to be one bullet point. Is that one strike on Europa, or is that just some weird thing just to say, strikes on Europa? We're not going to tell you how many or anything. But if you just go by like what is listed here, potentially in year 4, we're going to be seeing 3 new strikes that are basically reprised versions of Destiny 1 and 1 brand new strike on Europa. If that's all that's coming, I guess I was hoping for more strikes on Europa, but, beggars can't be choosers. But again, 3 older strikes kind of rehashed into Destiny 2. And then we've got the Europa, at least 1 strike there. We'll see what's coming. When you get to Gambit, now this one actually does have quite a bit to unpack. So Gambit and Gambit Prime will be merging into a single experience when year 4 kicks off on November 10th. The new version of Gambit will be similar to Gambit Prime as a single round face-off with tweaked blockers, heavy moat drain, and some changes to the primeval fight. I'm hoping they have mechanics kind of like the big meatball, so you can't just like straight up melt the guy. I would like to see more mechanics, at least on the boss fights, give some, variety there. We'll give more details on these updates before the revamped mode goes live next season, so more to come on that. Unlike strikes and other PvE content, the Year 4 Gambit playlist map selection is a best of list and is one of these edge cases we mentioned above. felt it was important to keep the select Gambit maps in rotation for the best competitive play. So we don't seem to be getting any new Gambit maps, unfortunately, because I was kind of hoping we might, due to the fact that we were going to Europa. The Drifter seems to be on Europa. His ship might be parked there. Kind of had hopes, but apparently no new maps for Gambit. I don't know if that mode is just kind of in like limping along, if they got more plans for it. It's not limping along. I mean, they're merging into a new thing, so that is actually going to be something completely different. Maybe like the mechanics they want to do first, and maybe maps come later. Just have to see how that goes. So the two ones that are going away are the one on the Dreaming City, and then the one on the Tangled Shore. I'm okay with Kel's Grave going away just because that one specifically, and also Cathedral of Scars, you can fall down through stuff. Everything else, you can't really fall through, like, you know, a big gap in the floor. So I'm kind of okay with those going, specifically Kel's Grave. I've fallen too many times, either be getting Goomba, like somebody bouncing off the top of my head. But yeah, you got EDZ, Nessus, Titan, and Mars. Those are the maps that are going to be available. Now, they said, as we perform maintenance on the activity, Gambit Prime armor perks will be deprecated. That means your Gambit Prime armor will give you no benefit in the new Gambit mode, because it is going to be working differently. We are exploring ways to rebalance and reintroduce some of these perks as armor mods in the future. Alongside these changes, we'll be rotating some of the maps into the DCV while retaining popular arenas for the mode. So maybe they will bring some back and, you know, kind of do a rotation. But your Gambit Prime armor that you have currently is going to have no perks that will activate basically when you get into the fall. It's just going to be normal armor with stats and mod slots, and that's it. So just to be clear on that, Gambit Prime armor, not going to be doing anything. There's no longer going to be like an invader set, if that isn't clear. For Crucible. Like Gambit, the new Crucible map playlist will be curated best of mix, and will be pulled from both Destiny 1 and Destiny 2's Legacy. Here's a look at the planned rotation in Year 4, as well as the maps being vaulted. So regular Destiny, apparently you have 4 maps that are just going to be your rotation. Destiny 2, you guys can read the list there. And then what's going into the DCV, the ones listed on the right. Now, there could be some fan favorites coming, going, things like that. Let me know what you guys think on these. I don't need to read through all of them. You guys can read or go to the actual TWAB article if you guys want to. The link is down below in the description, so check that one out. They also state, as Year 4 starts, we're also taking the opportunity to focus the Crucible experience by reducing the number of PvP playlists and modes that receive the most play. This will increase the matchmaking pools for the remaining playlists and make it easier to find matches with better connections. We'll have a full preview of Crucible changes later this season. They're probably going to reformat the director as well. But here's a preview of the modes that will be active and modes that are leaving. So the ones that are leaving are Supremacy, Countdown, Lockdown, Breakthrough, Doubles, Momentum Control, and Scorched. I'm okay seeing Scorched go. It's just kind of a goofy mode. Momentum Control was actually fun just as a rotation, but they could also be getting rid of the rotator. What's going to be available on November 10th? Rumble, Clash, Control, Iron Banner Control being its own thing, Elimination, and Trials, Showdown, Survival, and Clash. Now, Mayhem Clash staying around, I'm excited about. I hope that's a permanent mode. I would love just to be able to go into Mayhem Clash anytime I want to and just burn off some steam, because Mayhem Clash is a ton of fun. And it's a nice way to experiment, screw around with your super a bunch. It's literally mayhem, and the name fits very well, but it's a nice way to go just bonkers in PvP, not take it too seriously. I hope that's literally just a button on the playlist or somewhere that I can just play it anytime I want to. They do say Trials of Osiris note. In case it's not clear from the note above, the Trials of Osiris experience is not impacted by other content moving into the DCV this year. The Lighthouse will continue to be available to those who are able to complete a flawless passage. So the Lighthouse will still be available, even though Mercury is going bye-bye. So I cleared that up at the beginning. Raids and dungeons and secret missions, we're going to talk about all this stuff. No dungeons will be rotated into the DCV. All the dungeon-hosted destinations will remain active during Year 4. So the Shattered Thrones on the Dreaming City, the Pit of Heresies on the Moon, Prophecy. Note, the Prophecy dungeon will become temporarily unavailable for a brief period of time to allow our team to make the necessary technical update. Please expect details and dates and timing soon. So Prophecy is leaving when Beyond Light launches. Now, they're probably going to reissue that dungeon with either technical changes and other stuff of that nature. It is very interesting they say technical updates. On the podcast, we've kind of joked about they're dumping half of the game off of like you know, their world, if they're potentially trying to do something like an engine update, if they only have to do a true engine update to like half of the game, and then maybe the other half later on, they can manage that a lot better than the gigantic, gargantuan, like 9-10 destination thing we have right now. So something like Prophecy that is related to stuff coming new and that type of thing as a newer destination, that could be something that's kind of getting a little bit of an engine update and may take time to get there. Who knows? Speculating completely on the engine, who knows? But the engine that they currently have, I'm kind of hoping it continues to evolve. Satellite strikes, raids will follow simple vaulting rule as destination enters, it's going to. So Leviathan. And again, they cover this as well because all the raids going into the vault are the ones in the Moments of Triumph. They're like, play these now, they're going away. So the ones leaving, Leviathan, Eater of Worlds, Spire of Stars, Scourge of the Past, and Crown of Sorrows. All gone when Beyond Light launches. When Beyond Light launches, you will have 3 raids left. Garden of Salvation, Last Wish, and they say redacted, but they literally already told us it's going to be in the Deepstone Crypt. We may not know the name of it, but it's potentially going to be in the Deepstone Crypt. And then they said anticipating players would want to grab the coveted raid rewards and triumphs before they enter the vault. That's why they made the Moments of Triumph do that. So if you need anything in these raids, this is going to tie into most of the stuff down below. They said they also plan to bring Vault of Glass out of the DCV and into Destiny 2 for the first time at some point during Year 4. Again, my speculation is sometime in the spring, usually the quietest time in the year for the game, putting like, you know, one of the higher fan favorites back into the game in one of the quieter periods is going to give the game a little extra life when it could be, you know, what typically feels like that spring lull that we have in Destiny basically every year. So my guess, wagering my money if I had to right now, Vault of Glass, spring expansion. Or spring season, I should say. Exotic quests. As content enters the DCV, there's some exotic quests that can obviously no longer be completed because many quests go through certain destinations, which involve things that are, you know, taken off. Sturm, Mida Multitool, Rat King, Legend of Acreus, Sleeper Simulant, Polaris Lance, Worldline Zero, Ace of Spades, Last Word, Le Monarch, Jotun, Izanagi's Burden, Thorn, Lumina Truth, and Bad Juju. All of those are no longer going to be available through their standard method. They said these quests will be retired on November 10th and incomplete progress abandoned. If you want these exotics via their original quest, do them now. Now they state, none of these legacy exotics are being retired from Destiny 2. Their original acquisition journeys are simply entering the vault. We still want new and existing players to be able to earn these legacy exotics, so you're still going to be able to get them. So starting in Year 4, any exotic tied to a quest that has been vaulted, like anything I just listed, will now become available through a new memorial kiosk situated in the vault kiosk in the tower. We'll have more information later this season on how the exotic archive works and how to earn any exotics that you don't get your hands on before Year 4. Now you may also be asking, what about the Catalyst? Similar idea. Available Catalyst on November 10th that you can earn is this big giant list on the left. The ones that you will not be able to earn until an unforeseen date. Now it says if you have these Catalysts already, you'll be able to use them. You can continue using them at your leisure. If you already have any Catalyst with an asterisk, make sure you finish completing the necessary objective. To apply it to the objective will no longer be available at the end of the season. All these Catalysts will come out of the vault and be made available with new objectives in a future season. Unfortunately, I haven't seen them reissue stuff in future seasons like at a very quick pace, so if you want any of these, make sure you do them now. Bad Juju Catalyst, that's the one with all the triumph. Huckleberry, Izanagi's Burden, Legend of Acreus, Polaris Lance, a lot of these are on the Leviathan, Skyburner's Oath, Sleeper Simulant, Telesto, Outbreak Perfected, Whisper of the Worm, and Worldline Zero. Now, some of these are like, why is Whisper, Worldline Zero, Polaris Lance, Izanagi's Burden? Why are those on the list, you might ask? Welp. What goes away when a destination is vaulted? When a destination enters the DCV, its PvE content will no longer be available. Story missions, cinematics, strikes, raids, dungeons, adventures, secret missions, that's the big caveat there, vendors and associated bounties, destination-specific patrols, collectibles and scannables, destination-specific activities. The Forge on Mercury, which I don't think anybody really cares about, but Mars Escalation Protocol, obviously also going. Freely roaming the destination themselves, exploring lost sectors. Obviously, I'm saying a lot of words. The idea is that planet is toast off the director. Now, they have that content, of course, and they're going to do some rework to some of that stuff, I'm sure, and reissue things over time. But anything related to a planet, you take Mars, the strikes, the patrol zones, escalation protocol, lost sectors, the story missions, The whole planet, it's out. So if anything you have is related to these planets that are leaving and the Leviathan, now is the time. Now, they've said, what the heck is going to happen to year 1 for new Guardians? Because obviously the Red War is how we all started Destiny 2. They say they are building a new Guardian origin story on the Cosmodrome that will launch alongside year 4 and will be available to all Guardians to play. It is designed to introduce you to the world and mechanics of Destiny and prepare you to play the action MMO game we all enjoy. The Forsaken and Shadowkeep story campaigns will still be playable in year 4 for owners of those expansions. So it does sound like both Forsaken and Shadowkeep at this point don't sound like they're going to be free. Those are something that you're going to have to still purchase to be able to play those expansions and, take part in the Last Wish, that type of stuff. What's happening with the Whisper and 0 Hour secret missions and their exotic rewards? The Whisper is entering the vault alongside Io. That one I kind of figured because Io's leaving. So too is 0 Hour, given the old tower was part of the Red War campaign, and which is also entering the vault. And that's the one I didn't think about. 0 Hour is leaving because when you go through the tower mission, you're doing it in basically one of the Destiny 1 Red War missions. It's the same landscape. That stuff's leaving too. So 0 Hour also gone. So if you haven't finished your Outbreak Perfected Catalyst through the heroic stuff, again, now's the time to do it. Their exotic weapon rewards will not be acquirable until we find a new way to reintroduce them, so if you're keen to get them, make sure you do that now. With the Forsaken campaign, Tangled Shore, Dreaming City sticking around after Beyond Light's launch, does that mean year 2 seasonal content will remain playable in year 4 too? No. This is kind of one that some of us weren't sure about, but this is the clarification from Bungie. Forges, Reckoning, and Menagerie will be entering the vault on the 10th. Be sure to experience that content and mark the final items off your collections and checklist before it's vaulted. Here's a list. Ada 1. Her entire area down there in the Black Armory. It's going away. Season of the Forge quests. And all of the Forges, gone. Gambit Prime. They said they're merging Gambit, so it's just going to be Gambit. So Gambit Prime is leaving. Reckoning is leaving. And Season of the Drifter quests. Benedict 66. Warner 9940. The Menagerie and Season of Opulence. Also, toast. Pinnacle and Pursuit weapon quest. Note, these weapons will receive an alternate acquisition method. More details to come. So basically, what we're going to have when we get to the fall is as follows. We're going to have the Cosmodrome as a way for, especially when Beyond Light launches, it's going to get fleshed out later on, but the start of the Cosmodrome is just going to be that new light journey. Something for new players. We're going to have Nessus. We're going to have the EDZ. We're going to have, see if I can remember all this stuff. 4 planets leaving. The Moon, Tangled Shore, Dreaming City, and Europa. And then the Cosmodrome will be that new light experience. That's all that's going to be there. So many things between basically, if you take the Red War campaign all the way through year 2, except basically the Forsaken expansion itself, not the season pass, just the Forsaken expansion. So you have the Tangled Shore and the Dreaming City. That campaign will still be available. But everything basically from the launch of Destiny 2 to the end of year 2, pretty much everything in there is gone. The only thing that remains is the Forsaken campaign, and obviously the stuff related to Forsaken, specifically Tangled Shore, Dreaming City, that raid, the dungeon, that type of stuff. But your seasonal content that you got, the Drifter, Opulence, and the Forges, gone. Obviously Shadowkeep, that was year 3. That stuff's still staying around because that's all related to the Moon. And the Nightmare Hunts will still be available there as well. So that's mostly what's leaving. Now we've got some clarification. If you had any wondering before, is there anything that I want to do before it leaves Destiny 2 and comes either back, reissued changes, may not see it again at a future date? Here's your answer. So we got the season extended, which overall, we're going to have a big lull in these next couple of months. It's just going to happen. The Halloween event, I don't have high expectations. It's just Halloween. It's never been that crazy. So you've got a good 2.5 months at this point to look through this entire list and see, is there anything on this list that I want to do, that I want to experience, that I want to take part in? Is there a weapon that I want to get? Is there a catalyst I haven't finished? Is there anything related to all this content going? Look through this list, build yourself your checklist, see what you haven't done. You've got 2.5 months to do it. Even if you just work on like one thing a week at this point, there's a lot of going to be a fair amount of downtime in Destiny of like not new activities to do because we're about to run out of new lore in the interference mission. Solstice is going to go for another couple weeks, but once that's done, September is pretty open. And then, as I said, the Halloween event in October is just that. Probably be done with that mostly in the first week for a lot of people. So as I said, about 2.5 months, not a lot of new stuff as they just go full force on Beyond Light to get that thing ready, which is fine. I support them to do that right. But that means you've got 2.5 months. In 2.5 months, if there's something on this list that you want help with, look around for it, reach out, try and find people that are trying to do this stuff too. And know that after that, they gave you a fair amount of warning. They did their best. So now what is that going to make Destiny look like in the fall? Potentially going to be a smaller, more condensed game, but hopefully, you know, rapidly adapting, changes, quicker updates, things of that nature. Hopefully good things come in the fall. So wanted to break all this down for you guys, talk you through it. Hopefully that kind of covers everything. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this. Truly, is like, are you like, hey, some of this stuff's so old, I don't even play it anymore. It doesn't really matter. It's a shame to see some of the secret missions leaving and all of that type of stuff. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like below. You guys are awesome and blew past 50K. Obviously, 100K is the next milestone for me. I want to get that plaque, play button, whatever you call it. That's my next thing is 100K. So long grind to go, but the support comes from you guys. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do so. I'll still keep content coming to you guys even during the drought, so stay tuned. We've got the podcast tomorrow night. That's going to be Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got Gamma Trap. He's an amazing artist in the Destiny community, does stuff for Myland Games. So we'll be chatting him up with about this stuff and his art. And then, of course, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter. It's Ebontis on both of those. Thank you all very much. Have an awesome one, and I'll see you soon.